Hi, I'm Devin and welcome to Devin Tries. On today's episode, I'm going to try making a homemade pasta with a tomato and anchovy sauce. So all together, I'm making a homemade pasta with a tomato and anchovy sauce. So why am I making homemade pasta? Well, for starters, I've never done it before. This is going to be a first. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see if I can pull it off. We were gifted an incredible pasta machine. I think that's what it's called, a pasta machine. Let's see, what is it? It's a 3-piece pasta roller and cutter set. This is actually a really incredible gift. Fits right into the front of this Kitchenaid stand mixer. So we're gonna try it for the first time. If you like unboxings, this will be my first unboxing video as well, because this thing is brand spanking new. As soon as I get this roller going, I'll be rolling more than Limp Bizkit. You know, maybe a Devin Tries idea would be to make a chocolate starfish with hot dog flavored water. Oh, I just realized that's a chocolate starfish, isn't it? I think I'm gonna knead it, not use the Kitchenaid, but I am gonna use the Kitchenaid to roll it out and then cut it into shapes. This is made by Nevku. This thing is so heavy, like this must weigh at least 5 or 6 pounds. So this comes with a pasta roller, a fettuccine cutter, and a spaghetti cutter, which is some sort of spaghetti rounder. Oh, it says spaghetti cutter. I think I'm gonna go with fettuccine today. I like a nice flat strip noodle. Why am I making an anchovy and tomato sauce? Well, because when I was a child, I was led to believe by the media, or at least the cartoons that I was watching, that anchovies were not good. I was a child who didn't like pie. Huh? I was a child who spat out candy when I first had it. So I had some weird flavor things, and I bet a salty little fish bomb wouldn't have been my first choice of a little snack. The only cartoon I remember that glorified anchovies were the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who loved anchovy pizza. But those were these weird reptilian turtle freaks. And of course, I wasn't gonna eat what weird turtle freaks are eating. Sorry, TMNT fans. They're freakish humanoid lizards in the sewer. Otherwise, anchovies was just like the butt of a joke. I think Garfield also ate anchovies, but you know, no one respected Garfield. But now's the time. I'm an adult. I need to go deeper in on anchovies and really figure out what it's all about, because I think I'm gonna like them. Fat, salt, protein, in a beautiful little tin with some nice packaging. What's not to like so far? Till I get some in my mouth, and then I might be like, oh yeah, okay. Ben would eat an anchovy. He's probably not allowed. Ben, do you want an anchovy? No, he'd rather eat that plant. Well, I think this settles it. I need to make a Devin Tries where I put anchovies on pizza. And other popular foods from cartoons, like lasagna, or a chicken leg with a really clean bone sticking out of it. Recipe is down below, follow along. I'm gonna explain it as I go, but let's try making a homemade pasta. Here we go. I'm using all-purpose flour from a company called No Name. This is obviously the company that Arya Stark started when she left Westeros. You know, the only reason I could possibly like Galen Weston is if suddenly he tore his own face off and underneath it was Arya, and we're like, oh, we like Arya, she's the best character. No, this is me struggling with flour, and as you can tell, I'm pushing the top of the flour off into the pile I've already started, so my measurement's way off. That was a really boneheaded move. This is probably when I should have stopped and been like, maybe today isn't the day you should make a complicated pasta. However, I did make a nice little nest, and I cracked those eggs right into the nest. Not usually how you like eggs in a nest, especially if you're a mother bird. And disaster. The eggs just sort of overflowed. I tried a squeegee technique to get those eggs back in, but it just caused more to go off to the side. And I thought, you know what? Half a teaspoon of salt should solve that. How about half a tablespoon of olive oil? Olive oil actually supposedly makes the pasta feel sort of smooth, so I'm excited to see what that's like. Punctured the egg yolks, and of course, mudslide. The eggs fell right off my little nest there. I was struggling to touch the egg. It was grossing me out. More egg off the side. I really should have just done this on the counter instead of on an elevated cutting board. but this was the choice I made and I needed to live with it. So tried putting it together and it felt like my hands were adhering to the dough more than the dough was adhering to itself. If I had been smart, I would have watched anyone make pasta dough before I tried it myself, but no, I'm not like that. I want to go through this learning experience the old-fashioned way with a written recipe. So I wet my hands and I continued to press it together and sort of got a ball eventually. Of course, this is really sped up. I mean, I was spending, 10, 15 minutes just pressing what felt like shaggy, dried dough together. This was a good spot though. A little more water, probably taking care of that extra flour I added off the top. And then I started sort of pressing it together until I finally got to this moment. It almost felt like it had become a real dough, which just goes to show never give up, ever. Boom, down it goes and into the saran wrap so it can rest for 30 minutes. And don't forget to use your Timex, trusty Timex, sponsor me already. Finally flour these pans with some cocaine and we're good. Okay, now that the pasta is resting, I can open this up. Welcome to my unboxing. ASMR. Nice. Oh, pasta maker instruction book. Okay, yada, 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 safety stuff, lots of spelling errors. Doesn't really instill confidence when there's so many spelling errors in an instruction manual. Keep fingers out of feed and discharge openings. Surely they could have come up with a different word than discharge. Do not use this attachment for anything other than its intended use. That just seems like you're trying to stifle my creativity. Do not use outdoors. Now all I can imagine is using this outdoors in a beautiful pastoral setting out in a gorgeous meadow, making my fresh pasta. Come on, Nevku, stop harshing my vibe. Okay, you get a little brush and a spatula. There it is, pasta roller and 2 different cutters. Nice that it comes form-fitted to this styrofoam. Yeah. Okay, so that looks like it's the roller and it's got different settings here with numbers. That's nice. So the lower the number, the thinner, the higher the number, the wider. I assume you're gonna have to start at the wider one and sort of work your way down. And that is going to go right in the front somehow. Oh, like so? I'll figure that out when I can look a bit closer, but that goes in there. What do we got here? Okay, so that is the fettuccine cutter. Looks good. No actual numbers on this, so you just get one size fits all. And finally, this is your spaghetti cutter. I was kind of wondering about this. It doesn't actually cut in a perfect cylinder. It looks like it's more of a sort of like a square shape, but yeah, very cool. Very excited to try these out. So I'm gonna wash these in some warm sudsy water, make sure there's nothing icky on there, and then we'll give it a shot. Okay, these are all washed and dried. That actually took way longer than I expected, but I was just trying to be really careful, right? Because there are gears in here, they get lubricated. They use mineral oil, which is a food-safe lubricant. So just wanted to make sure I wasn't washing away any good lubricant there on those gears, and got it all nice and dry. So warm water, soap, try not to get into these boxes where the gears are, and I feel really good about that. So I'm ready to install this for the first time. So I realized what you need to do is make sure that is unscrewed, like so. And it was time to get the dough. That's right, it had been 30 minutes. There it is, all wrapped up, and here it is unwrapped. I decided to give it a poke test. It bounced back a bit, is that right? Tell me in the comments below, should you have a springiness to your dough? This felt pretty springy. Cut it into 4 pieces, and then I decided to flatten it into these cylinder shapes so that it would go through the roller better. This part was fun. Just squishing dough. Honestly, I'm glad I kneaded it by hand. It sort of taught me something. But next time, I think I would use the Cuisinart just like I am right here. This was my first attempt at rolling and it came out all wiggly. I was like, uh-oh, this might not be good. But the next pass through was great. I folded it up into a nice, simple rectangle and back through. I ended up rolling the dough 3 times on each setting, and I would always go down by 2 numbers, and this got the dough nice and thinned out, but also long. I kept going until I got it to a really nice thickness that I thought, that's a noodle right there. This was actually really fun. It would have been more fun to actually do this with somebody else. It's just like a joyful way to cook, I think, because it's so silly. It's like Play-Doh for adults, only you can eat this Play-Doh. Maybe not raw. Oh, you could raw. I mean, it's got raw eggs in it. And the cutter. This was it. This was the big first cut. It came out beautifully. Look at those noodles. I bet there's a way to sort of arrange them in a nice knot. I didn't know. I was just sort of like winging it. But boy, that was satisfying. Look at those noodles cut, except for that end one. Don't look at that end one. But there they are. Lots of flour on this one. And that's homemade pasta. Of course, no pasta is complete without a sauce, so get 100,000 cherry tomatoes and cut each one of them individually. This took way too long. If you want a shout out in my next video, teach me a trick on how to cut cherry tomatoes. Anchovy time, I went with Club des Millionnaires, a club I'll never join unless for some reason people love content of me absolutely messing up a pasta dough. Out come the anchovies, and here's my first ever taste. Looks like a delicious chunk. Yeah, it tastes like salty fish. Honestly, pretty good. Like very powerful, but really delicious. Yeah! Oh, I thought that was gonna work. That would have looked so cool. I'll just cut this part out and make it look like I got it all in post. Here's way more garlic than the recipe called for. My mincer and my zester were dirty, so I just grabbed a small cheese grater. I don't know if this is right. Maybe I've discovered something new. But let's all just take a moment and appreciate this butter melting. In go some anchovies. There's about 4 of them. Set a little timer using the Timex watch and let them melt. Look at that. In goes the panko, one of my favorite ingredients. How does it work? It always comes out so crispy. It must be some sort of dark magic. Once the panko is roasty toasty, you're gonna put it into a bowl to cool down, nice and golden, just like this olive oil. And in goes more anchovies, who would have thought? Let that all melt into the oil. Make sure you don't burn it here, because that would be a big disaster. In goes my shredded garlic. I think I've discovered something here. I think that is a good way to do garlic. It looks odd. It looks like cheese. Red chili pepper flakes. It's just the classics, you know? Italian food, you got olive oil, you got garlic, chili flakes, tomatoes, and loads of salt to bring out that flavor. Oh, my mouth is watering doing the voiceover. In goes the wine. I actually doubled the sauce, so that's 2 cups of wine, and that's why I had so many tomatoes at the beginning. Stirring that all together and reducing it down. And in the meantime, we're making this Parmesan crisp. No, that is not garlic. I know it looks exactly like the garlic from before. Salt your water. Here's a frustration of mine. I was using the small burner because the big burner was doing the sauce, and I didn't really get a full boil all the way through, but it was only meant to be in there for 1 minute. So out it comes, and into the mouth goes the taste of the sauce. That's like how the boom goes the dynamite guy would say that. Perfect time to give a shout out to my boy, Wyatt Seddon Johnstone, who won the competition in the Last Word episode. This is your shout out. Guy's gonna be a dad soon. You can show your kid this, be like, I was shouted out in a YouTube video. Into the bowl goes the pasta. I tried to do a fancy turn. Instead, I just dropped a tomato on the cutting board. But I'm eating it, so I picked it up with my fingers and plopped it in. This should have looked sexy too, but I don't know, I think it looks really good. I was trying to do one of those sophisticated turns. I bet there's a trick to that, maybe using a big ladle. On goes the Parmesan, crisp, and that looks friggin' good. Okay, here we are, homemade pasta with tomato and anchovy sauce. I poured myself a glass of wine. Let's dig in and try it out. Look at the length of those nudes. It's so good. It's so good. The texture of the noodles is exactly where you want it. I purposely put it into boiling water for 1 minute and then did another minute in the sauce, and together it got it to a perfect consistency. It's chewy, it's not too soft. I love how long they are. Sauce is incredible. It's really rich, kind of like salty, and that anchovy comes through, so you get some of that fish, but obviously you're getting a lot of the zing from the tomatoes. It's really good, and then the crunch on top really gives that last textural element that sort of ties it all together. So I thought I had failed. When I started kneading that dough, I thought, this is it. I'm done. It totally came through in the end. I'm exhausted. I really put a lot of hours into that. That took me about 4 hours. And of course I'm filming and everything, but that really just was, that was a full afternoon of making this meal. So I'm gonna tuck in and enjoy it because I'm exhausted. You tell me what I should cook next. Put it in the comments and tell me why I should cook that thing, because I want there to be a bit of a story attached to it as well. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Watch one of my other videos here and subscribe here. Do it. Okay, time to eat before this gets cold. Compliments to the chef. That's me, I'm the chef. I cooked it. I didn't come up with the recipe though. You should go check out Tasty Co. Compliments to the recipe and to me for getting it done.